Well, hello, my name is Dave. Today we're going to take a few minutes and make something a little bit different. Today we're going to use a piece of Japanese maple. We're going to make a 5-inch square hors d'oeuvre plate. Now this little plate will have its challenges, part of the reason being it'll be thin. To tackle something that's thin, in particular, you need very sharp tools. So I've just stepped over here to the grinder to put a fresh new edge on my bowl gouge. Now this is one of the tools we'll be using today. This is a 60-degree bowl gouge, sometimes referred to as a bottom feeder gouge. Now why sharp tools? Let's take a moment and talk about shop safety. You notice even at the grinder I have a face shield on. You're tearing away metal. You don't need that in your nose, you don't need it in your eyes. So work safe. Sharp tools will give you the best of everything in wood turning. When you're using a dull tool, you're pushing too hard. You're not getting the result you like. You're not getting the shavings flying over your head or building up on your wrist or all over your chest, that kind of thing. The stuff that makes wood turning fun. Keep your tool sharp at all times. You'll have a successful turn. It'll be easier on you. You won't need a death grip. I hope I can demonstrate in this little example that we're going to do today that I don't have a death grip. I generally use a push cut, and you will see that I hold the tool rather lightly here and lightly here. I have a handle. I also have a bumper for security. That was Dave Schweitzer bumper. Alright, so we're going to make this little plate in a minute. I'm going to take you over to another table and show you how we have it set up. Now this is my way of doing things, and I think that's an important statement. Maybe you're watching this with a friend, and the friend's going to say, hey, he should have used a skew, he should have used a scraper, a different bowl gouge, a different technique. That would have worked better with a pull cut, that type of thing. Please understand, in wood turning, there are so many ways to do the same thing. It's all about your comfort zone, your skill level, how you've been taught or self-taught, and it's really about get the job done, get a great success out of doing it, and above all things, to enjoy it. So don't let somebody deter your experience by telling you you absolutely have to do it a particular way. There are good techniques to learn that are kind of universal, but for the most part, just always remember there's more than one way to do the same thing. So let's take that moment, step over here to the table. I'll show you the setup, what tools, what finishes, the entire works, and then we'll step over to the lathe and we'll get this project out of the way. All right, so I'll see you in just a minute. Set up the camera, step over to the other table. Thank you. Well, all right, to start our project, I thought I'd show you a few bits and pieces of it to start with. First thing we're going to do is we created our blank. So it's very, very important that this is dimensionally solid. It's important that it is square. All sides are equal. So this piece just happened to be, I started off at exactly 5 inches. So 5 inches, and then I went from corner to corner, straight line on the back side here. So I put my waste block exactly lined up on the lines so that when we put it in the chuck, there'll be no wobble wobble. If there is, your points when you turn a square plate are not going to line up. They're going to taper off on one end. It looks pretty hokey. Alright, I also wanted to show you, I started earlier today to make one and didn't turn out well. I made an error. I didn't make my recess deep enough for a secure fit, and one little catch on this side, actually it wasn't a catch, it was just too much pressure, and I tore off the bottom and the plate went flying. I know there's a way to save this, but I'm not going to do that today. So then I went on to make another one, and this one turned out real nice. So it's very, very thin. All the corners line up together. The bottom is proper, sits perfectly on a table. So this will make a nice little hors d'oeuvre tray, sushi tray, any number of types of things you want to call it. I also wanted to show you what tools we'll use today, and mind you, it could change, but for the most part we stick with the same tools. I use a skew, small skew, and I use that for cutting into the recess in the bottom. As I mentioned earlier, I have a 60-degree grind bowl gouge, bottom feeder gouge. And then lastly, to finish off, I have a negative rake scraper. Now, when you use this, of course, you're turning at a high speed, as well as you need to have a light touch. All through this project, it'll be a light touch. Your tools need to be sharp, and you need to be able to very efficiently make a nice light cut. A heavy cut, you'll produce a harmonic distortion, and you'll get waves, and you'll be sanding for days. Last piece is I use General Finishes bowl finish, and I started the habit now when I buy it by the quart can. I put it into two 16-ounce jars. Once the oxygen gets to this finish, it tends to skim over on the top to a point where it can be very, very hard and you have to pull it out. And I find it to be quite a waste of money. So I'm experimenting. I'm putting it in the jars to reduce the amount of oxygen that it's exposed to, and we'll see. All right, what do you say we get started? Hang on and I'll get it set up on the lathe and get the camera turned around and we'll get going. Thank you. All right, first part of the project is to mount the blank to the chuck. We're not using a round piece, we're using a square piece. It's just going to go here in between the jaws. All we do is slide it in, make sure it's fitting flat against the bottom of the chuck, and then tighten her down. All right. I know that was truly exciting to watch. Reduce the speed, of course. All right, very nice. All right, so the next thing I'll do, of course, is just mark the center and mark how big I want my recess to be for the chuck when we turn it around. And then we're also going to mark our thickness around the edge, okay? So let me go. I'll be right back. All right, first thing, I set my depth for 1/2 inch, and I don't make a line the full length. I only make a line on the corners. When it's spinning, you can see the line. So I just get the 4 corners. And that's it. So that when I'm turning, when I'm cutting the bottom, I try to only come up to the very bottom of this line. That'll be the bottom of the plate. So we'll cut in this direction, and then as we get very close here, we'll cut back into the bowl on the other side. So easy peasy. What I learned is if you cut it too high up here thinking you're going to have a thicker bowl, you can't create the arc in the bowl that you want because it's too thick. So I've calculated out just about a 1/2 inch does the trick. Of course, the real trick is that you don't exceed that and go past it. Okay, so let's set up again. All right, here we are to the easy part. So we're going to mark the center, turn the lathe on, touch the pencil to the center. Now if you're using 100mm jaws, your recess opening is just about 2 1/4. You can mark it with a ruler, calipers, any way you want. I made a quick little jig. I go over a little bit, get myself enough for a foot, and that's all I need to do. So now we're marked and ready to go. So let's get set up to create this and then take off the edges. So here we go. Bring the speed up. I usually go about 900. Watch your hand on the edges. Doesn't take much. Alrighty. So now the last part. This is, what is it, 15 degrees for the dovetails. Gives me my little button that I like. So I always make sure that that is flat right there, that you're at the right bevel angle for the jaws, and this has a flat mate and a flat mate. Alright, so the next thing is to bring this out so that we come up to our line. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is bring up the RPM to make this cut. 1300 RPM should be sufficient. Let's see if we can bury the camera. All right. Well, we got a knot through here, I hadn't noticed. That's going to be a challenge. So we're about 1/4 inch from our line yet. And you can hear that as I get into the airspace out here, so that's the in-between, that the tone changes. So we got a little ways to go yet. We'll increase this cut, probably take 3 more cuts to get there. And let's see what happens. Give ourselves a little more support. And we've exceeded the line just to here. Pretty darn good right there. Perfect. This is going to be a problem. You can't have a turning without a problem, can we? Alright, so the next thing is, let's see if we can get this little line out of here. It's a very light cut. See what happens. Very nice. So, we have a nice arc through here. So when we start cutting on the other side, it should work out just fine. I need to flatten this out in here so we have a foot to sit on. It'll just take a light little cut to go across there. So I do need to move the camera out of the way to do that. All right, we finished our bottom. So we have a flat edge so the chuck can seat against it properly. We're flat here as well as at the right bevel angle to receive the chuck. We've got our details in. As far as how far we came up, I did pass my line. I think that'll work out fine anyway. I'm really hoping it does. So all I have to do now is turn the block around, cut off our waste block, part it off, just like you would any other piece on there, and then start taking out the flip side. So let's get that set up and get going. Well, I did mention that we'd probably use maybe one more tool, and of course it's our parting tool. So let's get going. Gotta watch that edge right there. D-way parting tool. I use all D-way tools. They're great. All right, let's reset the camera and start taking the center out. Okay, before we get going, I wanted to talk about a plan of attack. Now, one of the things I learned some time ago when you're trying to turn something thin is to stair step it. So I could start here in the middle and keep coming out and keep coming out. But I'm going to try something a little different. I did with the other plate as well. I'm going to start here on this edge. You got to be real careful. But as you come in, you don't go all the way to the middle. You leave the bulk in the middle. It helps keep the whole thing firm. And you kind of keep going down like a pyramid. And then you come back to the top of the pyramid and you take that off, the next step, the next step, the next step. And then you go in a little further from the side till the point where we are at the thickness that we think our bowl should be. So hopefully this will all work out well. I do have a concern about the knot we saw on the corner. We'll find out together whether or not that works, okay? So again, let me reposition the camera, get things set up, and let's see what happens. I need to bring the speed up a bit. We've got a line here. What happens, this vibrates a little bit and it's easy to move. Had to bring the bumper in to hold the the tool. We're going to take it just a wee bit thinner, and hopefully we can get past that line and then start back in here again. Matter of fact, I think I'll start back in here first a little bit. So let's go for a little bit more support. The VB alert works a little different than most lathes. All right, let's see what happens. See these lines through here? I have to get those with a scraper. That looks pretty good. We got about an 1/8 of an inch thickness here. Alrighty. So we've relined everything. I've resharpened the scraper. Ready to go. Hopefully we're going to be able to pull these out of here and finish this thing up easy peasy. So let's give it a go. Here comes the challenging part. Give it another go. I'm going to turn my air on to keep the sawdust off the tool. May kick on the compressor. Well, give it one more. Just one more. that? A little bit of hand sanding. Our corners are close. Alrighty. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, let's take it off. Take a look. Good thickness. Pretty decent finish. Like I say, a little hand sanding up in here. We got a little ring right here. This is going to turn out really nice. Bottom's nice. This adds a little character. I think I'm going to call this one a success, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 5-inch square plate. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Well, alright, what do you say we do a wrap up? So, in a very short time, we were able to make a 5-inch hors d'oeuvre plate. These are Japanese maple, by the way. A neighbor down the street lost a tree, and I got a bunch of the wood. So they sit well on the table. We'll put a nice clear finish on them. Again, I use the General Finishes bowl finish. Each one's a little bit different. This one turned out to be a bit thinner, and reason being is the size of the foot that I put on the bottom. I had forgotten about coming back one more time to create that foot. So this little plate does not have the same foot on the bottom. But I think they would look great next to each other on a cheese board. Make 4 or 5 more of these, and it's a nice set for entertaining. I've done them before where I painted them black. I've made them where with this on the back, you can put it on your chuck and put it off center, and you can score lines that don't come all the way around. Looks rather unique. So easy project to do. Takes a little planning and thinking, but the result turns out to be something pretty nice. You can make them obviously different sizes. You could also make bowls this way, square bowls. All kinds of challenges, but this is a good start method, and I think you'll enjoy giving it a go. You may have a couple of frustrations along the way, but still, it's a nice project to do, and it makes a nice gift for somebody too. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed turning round, and again, have a great day, keep turning, and inspire someone. Bye-bye.